today my guest is Sonny von Cleveland, right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
How
Thank you
you
so much
doing?
for having me, man. I'm doing fantastic, man. I appreciate you having me on, Ike.
Good. So, Sonny, tell us a bit about who you are, where you're based, and you have such an incredible story, Sonny. I must say, from one brother to another, man, this is a strong story, and to see you now using that platform to do great things is awesome.
Thanks, man.
I just want to say up front before we even start talking.
Well, I greatly appreciate you, man. I live in Palm Springs, California. I'm a motivational speaker, an author, and a content creator, photographer, and videographer, and an entrepreneur. And I live my life by passion, and I have a desire to help people learn how to heal. Based off of the experiences of my life, I try to use my story to inspire other people to know that they're not alone in this lifetime, and to be able to heal by using our voice, right? Telling our story, owning our truth, regardless of the feedback from the opinion galleries. I've come to find and learn, I've tried every route of Band-Aid that you could think of to heal. And I came to the realization that it's just through using this wonderful gift we have called a voice. And this is our healing mechanism. It hurts to talk about our pain, our abuse, our trauma, and our tragedy. The more that we do it, the less that it hurts. And speak about it until it doesn't hurt anymore. And that is healing.
Sure. Let's go back to your childhood growing up. How was that?
On the outside, I had a pretty normal looking childhood from a small town in the middle of Michigan, right in the middle. And, had a single mom home with me and an older brother. He was 19 months older than I was. But behind the scenes, it was wrought with abuse. At the age of what comes to now be 3, I started to be molested by my uncle. And then over the course of the next 8 years, 5 or 6 other men joined in on that circus, and I was constantly abused, and 3-4 times a week throughout my life. As it comes to unfold, I go in depth in my book, Hey White Boy, Conversations of Redemption. I go in depth and talk about everything. But after the book went to press, I started to talk with more family members that I haven't spoke with, and people from my past, and started to piece together a lot of missing components that I didn't put in the book, especially from my mother. My mother kind of clued me in and let me know, like, I only talked about 4 guys in the book that molested me, but turns out it was 6 or 7, and I thought it started when I was 5. Turns out it started when I was 3, and that showed a lot to me about what we do as human beings and how we mentally block things out because of trauma, and which can then make it much more difficult for people to heal, because sometimes we repress memories and we can't heal something that we can't recall, and it can still manifest itself toxically in our lives because it's a subconscious memory. And that pain will still be festering and existing, and your body keeps the score. Right? Your body is going to keep count of the toxicity that exists within it. So if we don't expel that toxicity, it's going to come out in forms of diseases or mental, emotional problems. We might develop addictions, or we might act out behaviorally in ways that we normally wouldn't act out, because we are masking pain. And the body is not designed to house pain or trauma, and it wants to get it out. Like we notice when we physically injure ourselves, the body heals itself.
That's correct.
The body tries to do the same thing with emotional wounds, but it has to have a vessel to heal. So when our bodies heal from physical things, the elements of the earth help that heal. That's why we develop scabs. That's why there's plasma and the body heals itself. But when it comes to an emotional wound, it doesn't have the capacity to do that. We have to give it some type of vessel or some way to expel that toxicity, and that is through our voice. So when I was 7, I started to get into trouble. I broke into a church, and I was arrested in 1988, and I was charged with a felony in this small town that I lived in, which don't know how you charge a 7-year-old with a felony, but alas, it's on my record. And yeah, they put me on probation for 60 days. And when I got put on probation, all the guys that were abusing me stopped abusing me.